Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala asyrafil anbiya wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. We continue with our discussion on total past learning history, the sum total of our life, and from the perspective of positive Islamic psychology model, how we shape our perception based on the input from the physical environment, from the social intra and interpersonal environment, and from inner speech, in which we can then mold a positive worldview of life and then achieve peace, happiness, and success in this world and the hereafter. Because by molding our perception towards goodness, our feelings, our thoughts, our conscious and subconscious mind, our actions and our behaviors will all then be geared towards a sum total of goodness, which is a positive way of life, and inshallah we will achieve peace, happiness, and success and become an achiever in life. Because all of us yearn to have peace, happiness, and success, and to be an achiever in life. So there are many approaches in which we can understand this hierarchy of feelings, thoughts, and emotions. Feelings, emotion, thoughts, action, and behavior. So I'm going to give you an overview today, and then we can tackle one issue at a time so that we can learn how we can psychologically improve ourselves so that we can overcome many of the negative inner thoughts, inner speech, and negative emotions that we develop over time. What is important is yesterday I have told you that basically feelings and emotions and the neurotransmitters that is affecting us through an interaction between our physical self, our brain, our heart, our qalb, and our ruh will then produce a feeling that will be continuous, and that continuous feeling can be positive or negative, and we can more or less describe this as in this way. Every time we have a feelings, our feelings comes from an inner speech, and that inner speech can be instantaneous and automatic, depending on how repetitive it becomes part of us. So we then can learn how to identify them, because these feelings and these repetitive thoughts from the inner speech comes and go, and it can be varied or shaped towards a certain perspective and certain perception. That shaping process is something that we have to learn, and once we learn, then inshallah we can even overcome most of our psychological problems. So I'm going to tell you a few examples today, and today we will discuss about how we can basically frame this up first, because feelings, all the feelings that we have is equal to emotion with a story. That feelings, if we can eliminate, which is not easily done, or we can shift it or deflect it or shape it in a positive manner, then we will have positive emotions. But normally, what happens is we have feelings that are negative, feelings that constitute a destructive force that causes us to have misery, failure, hatred in life. So we can name those things, and we can then more or less identify those feelings first before it becomes big. That's why Ibn al-Qayyum says that if you are allowing certain inner speech which is negative to grow in you, it is like you putting stones and rocks into your meal, and you meal, what you get out of it? You just get dirt and dust. But if you put into your inner speech wheat, then when you grind the meal, the stone meal, what you get? You get the wheat so that you can make flour and eat. So that is how great our scholars were 900 years ago. They have understood the whole idea of how we can actually shift our perception from negative to positive, shift our inner feelings from negative to positive. And the way we do it is we can actually start thinking about giving them names. For example, we give names. For example, we have anger. Rasulullah tells us a man is not strong, one who can throw somebody else in a wrestling match. One is strong who can control his anger. So anger is the root cause of many disaster in human history, whether it is war, whether it's tribal, whether tribal conflict, whether it's human murder, and so on. So we have, for example, we give the name, say Mr. Anger. So when it comes you can say, oh, now Mr. Anger is that feeling of anger is with me. So Mr. Anger is present. So then how can you overcome that feeling? Or we have hate. So Mr. Hate. So you hate somebody. And you hate that somebody maybe for a day, for a week, for a year. Then it becomes a disease of hatred. And this in Islam are diseases of the heart. Spiritual diseases, and in psychology we have the terminology for that kind of disease. So we have also Mr. Ego. He thinks he's so inflated that he is the king of everything. Just like Fir'aun, he says, I'm the Lord of the worlds. Whereas he's just a teeny puny king of maybe a great civilization, Egyptian civilization, but he's not God who created the heavens and the earth. So this ego then will drive this person to have things that beyond whatever, it does not make sense. For example, there are people who have collection of 1,000 shoes. It's just ego. Or they have a collection of 1,000 sport cars costing maybe $1 billion or whatever it is. But it is just, their life is driven by ego, and actually they are just a puny human being that is not worth much from the perspective of our existence in the physical realm. Then we have Mr. Revenge. Or we have Miss Envy, we have Miss Anxiety, we have Miss Jealous, we have Miss Backbite, etc., etc. So each and every one of these feelings, if you can identify them, you give them a name. Tag them first. Alright? So I'm going to just give you a short discussion, and I will go through one by one, actually, to give you a way out so that we can actually do a DIY. That means our own DIY, do it yourself, scanning of our inner speech and our thoughts. And then with that, with the grace of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, through our dua, our zikr, our worship, our remembrance of Allah, we try to infuse the opposite character, the opposite worldview, so that we can then be able to actually achieve peace, happiness and success in this world and the hereafter. For example, I give you a little story. Say Mr. Revenge. You see, this world is full of revenge. All the great wars are, whether it's the First World War, Second World War, or whatever wars that we have today, is based on hate and revenge, ego and anger. All this together clump back to one issue that, okay, it could start very innocently. For example, maybe 100 years ago, in one corner of Afghanistan, there's one tribe, and one of the cows of that tribe already just moved over to another territory owned by another tribe, and the other tribe took the cow and slaughtered it. So that tribe that owns the cow say, oh, we hate the other tribe. Tribe A says, we hate tribe B because they have stolen our cow. So the next time around, when tribe B, 2 cows cross over to tribe A area, they kill the 2 cows, and now they have, instead of 1 cow, they have 3 cows being killed. And then it grow and grow and grow and grow, and over 100 years, each time a youth from tribe A goes over to the territory of tribe B, they will just shoot and kill them. And this is what's happening. All tribal wars, whether it is in Afghanistan, whether it's in the ancient Jahiliyyah Arabia, or in the middle of the forest of Papua New Guinea, it's the same thing. Hate, revenge. So finally, it got out of control. So they have tribal wars where hundreds of people are being killed. And beyond that tribal war, we have the First World War. We have more than 20 million being killed. Then we have the Second World War, more than 30 million being killed. We have the great evil people like Pol Pot and all that, killing maybe 3 million innocent Cambodians, and so on and so on. So all these things boils down to a negative perception and a negative inner speech. So remember, if you have that kind of feelings, that feelings of revenge, all right, straight away you say, oh, Mr. Revenge is here. You cannot just destroy it away, because that is, you cannot stop it, because it is coming and it is coming and it is coming. So, but if you are aware in your feelings that, oh, I have this feeling of revenge, inshallah, I try to infuse a feeling of forgiveness, because the opposite of revenge is forgiveness. So you say to yourself, inshallah, I'll forgive so and so for causing harm to me, maybe causing me to lose my job. Inshallah, I forgive him. So when you forgive him, you release your pent-up energy of hate and revenge. Because if you allow it to go, then days become weeks, weeks become years, and you get bigger and bigger and bigger and become out of control. You have people who live their whole life with hate and revenge, hate and revenge, hate. Everything that they touch boils down back to hate and revenge. If they do not try to stop the fire, that's why Imam Ghazali says, if you want to stop an evil action or a bad inner speech or a bad perception, you must cut it out when it is small. Because when it's big, it will run out of control. So, for example, the Great World Wars are small things. The First World War was just a little incident in somewhere in Europe, with a king being killed and so on, and it became a First World War, you know. So it goes out of control. So what is important is that when we have that feelings, we have to start imbuing ourselves. Inshallah, I forgive so and so. I will try my level best to be more positive in this. Whatever has happened, let bygone be bygone. And inshallah, we can be friends together. And maybe one day he will regret what he has done. And maybe we can continue this journey of life in a brotherly manner, in a way of peace, happiness, success, and so on. So you begin to mold your perception through your inner speech. Remember, do not give this emotional story a negative story. Try to give this emotional story with a positive story, because this positive story will then change these feelings to become positive. Alright? Because if you feed these feelings that is negative, you feed it with revenge and hate, it will become bigger and bigger with the negative emotions. This story will get bigger and bigger, and it will go out of control. And this is a very simple approach. So if you learn this method, you will then give names to anger, to hate, to ego, to revenge, to envy, to jealousy, to anxiety, to backbiting, etc., etc. Each and every one of these feelings and emotions, you give them a label. And once you start giving them a label, you can then be able to deal with them, so that you create within yourself, within your feelings and emotion, self-awareness of your own presence and the presence of the divine. First is your own self-presence, that you are aware of what is going on internally, the internal dialogue, the inner speech within yourself, and how you can extinguish the fire of hate, the fire of revenge, so that you can then become a calm, peaceful person. Your thoughts will be more peaceful, your feelings is peaceful, your emotion is peaceful, your neurotransmitters will just give you more dopamine or serotonin, and you are not stressed out, and you get all the benefits, the spiritual, emotional, mental and physical wellness that inshallah is a gift from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for all of us. So in the next episode, I'll take another topic and we can start thinking about it. Because, for example, anxiety is one of the greatest problems of modern society. Most of us in the first world or second world countries, we have food to eat. And for example, in the Western countries, they have more than enough food to eat. They have all the food, all the toys to play, all the games to play, all the nightclubs to go, everything. But yet, more than 80% are having this disease of anxiety. Why? Because they do not know how to go about to learn to mold their inner speech in a perspective that is good and helpful. So remember, link this back to our model when you can. Buy our book, Positive Islamic Psychology. We have this model, and now I'm giving you the detail of a practical way out using this model for you, inshallah, to learn how to do your own self-improvement and self-therapy that inshallah will be so effective that you will be surprised how easy it is for you to create the feelings of goodness, the feelings of happiness, the feeling of peace, happiness and success by the grace of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Inshallah, see you again in the next video.